First Contact Surprise. The Vanir Empire's first contact fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sol's system, their gleaming ships arranged in perfect formation. High Commander Lyra stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dawn, her iridescent scales shifting with anticipation as Earth came into view. The primitive planet's orbital space was cluttered with what appeared to be centuries-old satellites and debris, exactly what their scouts had reported. Status report, Lyra commanded, her four-fingered hand resting on the command console. 3,000 ships in formation. High Commander, her first officer responded. No sign of defensive platforms, no energy shields, no quantum arrays. Their most advanced vessels appear to be chemical rockets. Lyra's inner eyelids flickered in amusement. This would be the easiest integration yet. The Vanir Empire had incorporated dozens of civilizations into their domain, but none had seemed quite so defenseless. Still, protocol demanded they make the formal offer of submission before beginning the occupation. Open a channel to their primary governing body, she ordered. The response came almost immediately, far faster than expected from their apparent level of technology. The holoscreen materialized, showing a human woman in simple clothing, seated at what appeared to be a wooden desk. No military uniform, no formal regalia, not even basic ceremonial marks of authority. "Greetings," the human said pleasantly. "I'm Director Chen of the Earth Coordination Council. How may I help you today?" Lyra drew herself up to her full height. "I am High Commander Lyra of the Vanir Empire. Your world has been chosen for integration into our glorious domain. Surrender now and submit to Imperial authority, or face immediate—" "Oh, the Vanir." Director Chen interrupted, smiling. "We've been expecting you. Would you like to come down for tea? We find it helps make these discussions more pleasant." Lyra's scales shifted to a confused purple. This wasn't how first contact was supposed to go. Where was the panic? The awe at their mighty fleet? The desperate pleas for mercy? "Perhaps you don't understand," Lyra said slowly. "I have 3,000 warships aimed at your planet, each one capable of reducing your cities to ash. Your civilization will be absorbed into the Empire one way or another." "Yes, we can see your ships," Chen replied, still maddeningly calm. "Quite impressive, though you might want to check your sensor readings again. Things aren't always quite what they seem out here." Lyra gestured sharply, and her science officer began running new scans. The results made no sense. According to their instruments, Earth was simultaneously where they could see it and somewhere else. The readings showed multiple overlapping positions for the planet, as if reality itself was uncertain about its location. "What trickery is this?" Lyra demanded. "No trickery," Chen said. "Just physics. Different physics than you're used to, perhaps. Now, about that tea." The hidden Earth. High Commander Lyra materialized in a sunlit room with wooden floors and tall windows overlooking mountains. The transport had been strange. Not like any teleportation technology she'd encountered in her centuries of service. It felt more like reality had simply decided she should be here instead of on her ship. "Please, have a seat." Director Chen gestured to a simple chair at a round table. A steaming cup of dark liquid sat before each place setting. "The tea is jasmine. We find it helps calm the nerves during first contact situations." Lyra remained standing, her honor guard flanking her with weapons drawn. "Our sensors show your planet exists in multiple states simultaneously. Explain." "Ah, getting right to business then." Chen sipped her tea. "Tell me, Commander, how does your empire travel between stars?" "We bend space, creating tunnels through the void," Lyra answered stiffly. "Our hyperdrive technology is the most advanced in known space." "Bending space," Chen nodded. "Yes, that's where most species start. But about 50 years ago, humanity took a different path. Instead of trying to bend space, we learned to step sideways through it." She gestured to a window. Outside, Lyra could see her fleet in orbit, but something was wrong with the image. The ships seemed to fade in and out, like reflections in disturbed water. And beyond them, "That's impossible," Lyra whispered. Beyond her fleet was another Earth. And beyond that, another. And another. Each one slightly different, all existing simultaneously. "Nothing's impossible, Commander. Just improbable." Chen stood and walked to the window. "Your empire spent millennia perfecting ways to move through space. We spent decades learning to move between spaces, between realities. You're claiming mastery of parallel dimensions." Lyra's scales shifted to deep blue, a sign of disbelief in her species. "That's theoretical physics. No civilization has achieved it." "No civilization you've encountered," Chen corrected. "We don't have massive warships or planet-destroying weapons. We didn't need them. Why build bigger guns when you can simply step into a reality where the attack never happened? Why engage in direct conflict when you can exist in multiple states simultaneously?" Lyra's mind raced with the implications. Her fleet's weapons would be useless against a target that could simply shift to another reality. Even their sensors couldn't get accurate readings on a civilization that existed in quantum superposition. The Empire's entire doctrine of technological superiority through military might meant nothing against an enemy that had mastered the fundamental fabric of reality itself. How? It was all she could manage to ask. Chen's expression softened. "We discovered it by accident, actually. A failed experiment in quantum computing led to an unexpected breakthrough. One of our scientists noticed that under certain conditions, information wasn't just moving between quantum states, it was creating new ones. From there, it was just a matter of scaling up." She touched a control on the table and a hologram appeared, showing Earth's solar system. But not just one. Hundreds of them, layered over each other like pages in a book. "Each layer is a different probability state," Chen explained. "We can move between them at will, or exist in multiple states simultaneously. It's how we've remained hidden from your empire for so long. Your scouts never found our defenses because they exist in parallel states, only converging when needed." Lyra sank into a chair, her honor guard forgotten. Everything she knew about military strategy, about the Empire's technological superiority, was being undone by this revelation. These humans hadn't built bigger ships or stronger weapons. They'd simply changed the rules of what was possible. "Your empire isn't the first to find us," Chen continued. "You're just the first we've chosen to reveal ourselves to. We think it's time for humanity to take a more active role in galactic affairs. Not as conquerors or subjects, but as teachers." She pushed the cup of tea closer to Lyra. "Now shall we discuss what that might look like? Beyond convention." Back on the Eternal Dawn, Lyra faced a crisis unlike any in Imperial history. Her bridge crew watched in stunned silence as their sensors tried to make sense of what they were seeing. Earth now existed in a quantum superposition of states, and with each passing moment, the effect seemed to be spreading to nearby space. "High Commander," her science officer called out, her voice trembling. "The humans are. They're doing something to local space-time." On the main view screen, reality itself seemed to ripple. Stars flickered in and out of existence, showing different configurations with each pulse. The very fabric of space was being manipulated with a precision that made the Empire's most advanced technology look primitive in comparison. "Message from Earth, Commander," the communications officer announced. Text only. The message appeared on Lyra's personal display. "A demonstration of possibility. Don't be alarmed." Suddenly, the Eternal Dawn shuddered. Not from any attack, but from something far more fundamental. Lyra watched in amazement as her flagship existed in 3 different positions simultaneously, each version equally real, each responding to her commands. "Impossible," her first officer whispered. "The power required to maintain quantum superposition at this scale." "That's your mistake," a new voice said. Director Chen materialized on the bridge, though this was clearly no ordinary hologram. She seemed to phase between multiple states of existence, sometimes young, sometimes old, sometimes not quite human at all. You're thinking in terms of power. We think in terms of probability. What have you done to my ship? Lyra demanded. Nothing harmful, Chen assured her. We've simply extended our quantum field to include your fleet. Your ships now exist in multiple probability states, just like Earth. You can return them to a single state whenever you wish. Lyra's tactical officer spoke up, his scales pale with shock. Commander, I'm reading. Infinite tactical options. Every possible combat scenario is occurring simultaneously. It's like playing a game where every move happens at once. Now you're beginning to understand, Chen said. This is why we smiled when your fleet arrived. Not out of arrogance, but because we knew this moment of revelation was coming. Your empire has spent millennia mastering the art of moving through space. We've learned to move through possibility itself. She gestured, and suddenly they were no longer on the bridge. Or rather, they were on infinite bridges, each one showing a different version of events. Lyra saw versions where her fleet had opened fire, where they had retreated, where first contact had gone differently, all existing simultaneously, all equally real. This is what humanity offers the galaxy, Chen continued. Not conquest, not submission, but expansion. Not of territory, but of possibility. Your empire thinks in 3 dimensions. We think in infinite dimensions, each one a new opportunity, a new path forward. Lyra watched as her mighty fleet rippled with quantum potential. Each ship now existed in multiple states, their very nature transformed by humanity's impossible technology. The Empire's greatest strength had always been its absolute certainty, of purpose, of power, of destiny. But these humans had introduced something far more powerful, infinite uncertainty, infinite possibility. Your weapons are useless here, Chen said softly. Not because we're stronger, but because we've moved beyond the very concept of military conflict. How do you fight an enemy that exists in all possible states? How do you conquer a civilization that can step sideways through reality itself? Tables turned. High Commander Lyra stared at her tactical display, watching as probability cascaded through her fleet in waves. Each ship now existed in multiple states simultaneously, their positions and trajectories becoming matters of quantum uncertainty rather than fixed coordinates. The mighty Vanir Armada, pride of the Empire, had been transformed into a lesson in humility. Your Empire's fundamental mistake, Director Chen said, her form still shifting between probability states, was assuming that technological advancement had to follow a single path. Bigger ships, stronger weapons, faster drives. But humanity asked different questions entirely. A hologram appeared, showing the history of human scientific development. But unlike the linear progression the Empire had expected, this showed a web of interconnected discoveries, each breakthrough leading to multiple paths of exploration. When we first detected your scout ships 15 years ago, Chen continued, we could have built defenses, could have prepared for war. Instead, we saw an opportunity to demonstrate a different way of thinking. Lyra watched as her crew grappled with their new reality. Some were running endless simulations, others were simply staring at their hands, watching as quantum uncertainty made even their own bodies exist in multiple states at once. What you've done, Lyra said slowly, it changes everything. The Empire's entire structure is based on technological superiority, our ability to project power across space. But you've made that meaningless. Not meaningless, Chen corrected, just limited. Your Empire has achieved remarkable things. Your hyperspace technology, your energy production methods, they're impressive achievements, but they're all based on manipulating the physical world. We learned to manipulate possibility itself. A junior officer approached Lyra, his scales shifting through colors of confusion and wonder. Commander, I've been analyzing their technology. It's beautiful. They don't force reality to bend to their will. They simply step into a reality where things are already as they wish them to be. Exactly, Chen smiled. Why build massive engines to move through space when you can simply exist in a reality where you're already at your destination? Why develop weapons when you can shift to a state where conflict never arose? Lyra felt the certainty that had guided her entire career crumbling. The Empire's philosophy of technological domination suddenly seemed crude, primitive even. These humans hadn't just developed better technology. They'd fundamentally changed what technology meant. Your ships, Chen gestured to the fleet, still existing in quantum superposition, are now experiencing what we call probability flux. Each vessel exists in every possible state it could be in. Your crews are safe. They're just getting their first taste of quantum existence. And if we were to open fire? Lyra asked, though she already knew the answer. The weapons would exist in a state of both firing and not firing, hitting and missing, succeeding and failing. In effect, they would cancel themselves out. That's why we smiled when you arrived, Commander. Not out of arrogance, but because we knew this moment of understanding was inevitable. A new understanding. In the depths of the eternal dawn, High Commander Lyra sat in her private chambers, watching Earth phase through its multiple states of existence. After 3 days of negotiations, the reality of humanity's position in the galaxy had become clear. They weren't merely another civilization to be conquered, but rather teachers of an entirely new way of existing. Tell me, Director, Lyra addressed Chen, who sat across from her. Why reveal yourselves now? You could have remained hidden, existing in your quantum states, completely safe from the Empire or any other power. Chen's form stabilized into a single state as she considered the question. Because isolation breeds stagnation. Humanity has achieved something remarkable, yes, but we're not meant to keep it to ourselves. The galaxy is vast, and there's room for many paths of development. Through the viewport, Lyra could see her fleet beginning to return to normal spacetime. The humans had shown them how to control the quantum state of their ships, a gift that would revolutionize Imperial technology. But more than that, they had given the Empire a new perspective on what was possible. We're not asking you to abandon your Empire's achievements, Chen continued. Your civilization has mastered aspects of physics that we're still learning about. What we're proposing is a partnership, a sharing of knowledge that benefits everyone. Lyra's scales shifted to a thoughtful gold. The Empire has never had an equal partner. Our entire structure is built on hierarchy, on the strong guiding the weak. Perhaps it's time for that to change, Chen suggested. Your Empire has spent millennia looking up at the stars and asking how to reach them. We looked at reality itself and asked why we needed to reach for anything at all. Both approaches have value. A junior science officer entered the chamber, carrying a data tablet. High Commander Director, we've completed the initial analysis of the quantum integration protocols. The possibilities are extraordinary. We're seeing applications in fields we never even considered. That's just the beginning, Chen smiled. Imagine combining your hyperspace technology with our quantum state manipulation. Ships that don't just travel through space, but through possibility itself. Colonies that exist in multiple realities simultaneously, sharing resources and knowledge across quantum boundaries. Lyra stood and walked to the viewport, watching as Earth's quantum field gently pulsed, a reminder of humanity's achievement. The Empire will need to change. Our entire understanding of power, of progress, it will all need to be reconsidered. Change is just probability in motion, Chen said, joining her at the window. Your Empire hasn't failed, Commander. It's simply discovered a new path forward. Think of it as evolution on a civilizational scale. As if to emphasize the point, a fleet of Earth ships suddenly phased into existence alongside the Imperial Armada. But these weren't warships. They were exploration vessels, research platforms, and diplomatic ships, each one existing in multiple quantum states at once. This is what we're offering, Chen explained. Not submission, not conquest, but collaboration. Your Empire has spent centuries asking what's possible. We're here to show you that everything is possible, all at once, all the time. The only limit is our willingness to embrace new ways of thinking. Lyra watched as her crew began working alongside human technicians, learning to navigate the strange new reality their civilization had stumbled into. The mighty Vanir Empire hadn't been defeated, it had been transformed. And in that transformation lay the seeds of something far greater than military might or territorial conquest. "We accept your offer," Lyra said finally, her scales shifting to the deep purple of profound change. "Not as conquerors or subjects, but as partners in possibility." Chen nodded, her form once again shifting through multiple states. "Then let's begin. After all, in an infinite number of realities, we're already old friends. We're just choosing to make this reality one of them." Outside, Earth continued its quantum dance, a beacon of what was possible when a civilization chose to ask different questions. The Vanir fleet began its journey home, not as a defeated force, but as messengers of a new age, one where the very nature of reality itself was not an obstacle to be conquered, but a canvas for infinite possibility.